See the negative impacts of rap hip hop culture in black boys and young men, but the lines seem to be blurry when it comes to seeing clear connections of how rap hip hop culture negatively affect black girls and young women.
He introduced you to Gloria Velez.
Luke didn't introduce me to no Gloria Velez. We can call Luke right now. You know what I mean?
He said it in an interview a while back.
Look what I'm saying to you. She was standing up with a Jamaican rapper named Mad Lion.
Okay, I know who that is.
Big Pun, Fat Joe, Method Man, like whoever you speak to, just ask them how I did it. I got out the limo, grabbed her hand, went upstairs and fucked her. Luke didn't never fucking introduce me to anybody.
Okay.
In his life. I love Luke to death.
Mm-hmm. He just had on point.
But can't nobody, look, the reason why he's saying he introduced me to it, because it's a good thing to say, okay, I introduced Aaron Hall to this girl. I took her. Me and Gloria's cool. We got cool in 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. You feel me? I'm a boss. I ain't gonna argue with you about no shit and you an umbilical cord bitch. You fucking 35, 36 years old. I'm not gonna disrespect you, but I'm a boss motherfucker. And I love my son, so I ain't gonna break probation by fucking with you and not being able to speak to him again.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? Right. But when I speak to a nigga that got dick and balls, he can never say introduce me to no bitch. Nobody ain't never introduced me to a bitch in their life. I wish they did. The thing is that you can ask Gloria though. It has nothing to do with me. I don't like talking about no man. No. We both Adam first.
You know something? I just remembered that Gloria had tattooed Aaron's right above
in black, red, and green.
Right above her vagina.
Right above it with a parenthesis with an S.
Right.
Aaron's.
It belongs to.
Look. When I saw her, she was dancing with Luke and them. I didn't know she was a puppy, you know what I mean?
That's right.
She was tall, she was big, blonde hair, bone with the black pant leather. I was like, I'm getting that. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows I couldn't even really speak then. I had a speech impediment. I don't stutter anymore. Mm-hmm. So I just went there and just grabbed her hand and went inside the hotel and gave it to her. You feel me? So she gonna say Luke is lying. You feel me? Okay. Because I don't lie on my dick. You feel what I'm saying? My mother was Puerto Rican, from Ponce. So when I see anybody that's Spanish, I'm going to grab them.
Okay.
Yeah, I ain't going to ask if you holding the hand all loose and you holding a conversation with a nigga.
Preach.
I'm going to take your bitch. She chose up already. Now, she want to go renegade? Go renegade, bitch.
At what point did she get the tattoo?
3 days after I fucked her.
3 days.
3 whole days. If anybody can do that shit, I don't care if you was married, I don't care if you was engaged, if your anniversary, if your bitch did that shit, then I'll stop singing I Miss You. But my whole thing is this, is that I love Gloria to death because she gave me a beautiful son.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
So my whole thing is that I want to make sure that it's right. I love my son Aaron Robin Hall IV to death. I ain't seen him in 15 years, but I love him to death. We talk all the time. Gloria didn't do no bad thing to me. I thought she was older. You feel what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Sometimes I see a puppy on the field when I'm doing dog training. I think it's a year old or 2 years old, and it'd be like 8 months. So I don't know. Yeah. So when I saw her, everybody was trying to get at her.
Right.
Why y'all scared of her? I took her. I couldn't even talk. I had a speech impediment. Ask her.
Yeah, because they didn't know what to do.
Okay, so for clarity, that was singer Aaron Hall explaining about the time he met his baby mama, Gloria. He explains that he jumps out of a limo. He did not know her, never met her. He walked up to her, grabbed her by the hand, took her with him, and he didn't ask any questions. He just seen a young lady that he thought was attractive standing on some set and just grabbed her by the hand and took her with him. I also want you guys to take note and listen to what he's saying. Look how he's talking. He's using a lot of pimp references. And he's talking about a young woman who he does not know, he's never met. But I want to point out the mindset of him. I also want to point out that he's speaking like this, and he speaks like this among other men. And if you watch the full VLAD video, you will hear him talk about how he's been around other men and some of the things that he's done. And I want you guys to take note. Other men did not check him. Other men are not going to check him. I also want you guys to think about also take into account, this is a mentality that a lot of men in his day, before him, and in today's day have. A lot of them have the same mentality. So when it comes, look, just think about Too Short. Go back to some old videos of how Too Short spoke about women. Go back and revisit some old videos about Ice-T and how he spoke and referred to women. Go check out some old videos of even, Dr. Dre, Ice Cube. All back then, this was a thing. Speaking like this, speaking about women, particularly black women, okay? Because these are black men. They grew up around black women, grew up in the hood. All right. So they're talking about the women that they were around. And when we see people like Suki Hana, we see people like Kaya, we see people like Cardi B, and people sit back and wonder, well, how did these women get like that? Why do they have the mindset that they do? The reason why is what you're hearing right now. See, they encounter Negroes like Aaron Hall, that's just so just so gross and ill, to where they begin to form a mindset that they think, okay, will counteract this. They begin to form a mindset that they think will protect them from Negroes like Aaron Hall. And this is what we're seeing right now. This is what we're hearing. The rapper Too Short, in his 1983 Don't Stop Rapping album, was a style of rap music that was dedicated to sexually explicit lyrics, but it wasn't until the late 80s to early 90s when nasty lyrics and gangster rap got political attention and raised concerns about how the music and or the culture of the music would affect young teens. Back then, it was argued that music such as NWA's F the Police, gangster rap, and Two Live Crew's sexually explicit music were only lyrics in a song and therefore had no bearing on the psyche or behavior of young people. Between the mid 80s and the early 90s, the genre rap music was fairly new, but had exploded onto the scene viciously. So the excitement and the likability of the music was very popular, which is why so many young black people supported the political and the social fight to keep the music around. Two Live Crew member Uncle Luke took his obscenity lyrics court case to the Supreme Court and won in 1994. With the backing of his rapper counterparts, those in the industry, and the majority of black young adults, the court case kicked in the door for those who came after him to use the most obscene and sexually explicit lyrics in their songs. When you think about women rappers such as Salt and Pepper, Little Kim, Trina, Kaya, Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, Suki Hana, Sexy Red, and the rest of the popular nasty lyric rappers, make sure to blame or to thank Uncle Luke for opening the legal doors to for many that came after him. Now, of course, this is a double-edged sword, because when it is a man rapping about violence, drugs, gangster rap, or sexually explicit music, it's seen as manly or positive aggressive, but not advocacy for violence. Or it's seen as street poetry or storytelling, but not promoting alcoholism or drug using or selling of drugs, which we all know leads to a lot of times addiction. Or it's seen as healthy sexual manly appetite, but not promiscuity or single motherhood for the women that the men are involved with. The effect of the music on young boys is clear as day, and it is no secret to many of us of how the influence of social media affects society, how the influence of rap and hip hop culture have also affected society. And when it comes to the young men that it has affected, particularly the young black men that it has affected, many people can empathize. Many people can be understanding. So when little Ray Ray and little Tay Tay come out and they're telling their stories about how they, got wrapped up in the industry and in the music and in the girls and the women, in the sex, in the drugs, in the violence of it all, and everything that comes with that, everybody's like, oh, little Ray Ray, little Tay Tay, they got out. Man, they did their thing. They were able to get out. So everybody is more open to, understanding these young men who get out. But when it comes to the young women, because a lot of times these young men, when they're doing a lot of these things, particularly the sexual deviant things, they're doing them with the young girls. And it's the young girls that are typically younger than them or around their same age that they're doing them with. So when the young girl is coming out and she's like, hey, the industry affected me too. The industry pulled me in too. I got caught up in the industry too. And this is what happened to me. Nobody can understand. All of a sudden, there's no sympathy, empathy, or anything that anybody can, give out. All of a sudden, connecting the dots of how, these young girls can get pulled in by older men, pulled in by men with money, pulled in by the glit and the glam. The same thing that pulled these young boys in that everybody could understand. Now when it comes to the young girls and the young women, it's like, oh, well, we can't understand. Why would they want this and why would they want that? Not understanding that a lot of these young girls, just like these young boys that got pulled in, the money, the cars, the jewelry, the women, the same things that pull these young boys in, a lot of times they pull these young girls in for the same thing. And a lot of times these young girls, they don't know what they're getting. They don't know what they're going into. As the elders used to say, they don't think fat meat ain't greasy. See, they didn't heard the stories, but they don't believe them. They think that it can't happen to them. So when these young girls are going in, they're not thinking that they're going to get turned into, prostitutes or be passed around or whatever. They're thinking it's going to be fun, glit, glam, cars, money, the same thing that these young boys, think before they get into it as well. But see, nobody can be understanding when it's the women. It's always, a different thing when it comes to these young girls that get pulled in. And that's the issue that I have. Right? Nobody can connect the dots. Nobody can understand how or why, these young girls get caught up, because so many people get amnesia when it comes to, connecting the dots for how these young black girls and women get caught up into these things, right? Into the lifestyle, get pulled in a lot of times because it's the curiosity of the possibility of having the lifestyle. Most in black society choose not to see the pull that the industry have on the young girls and young women and everything that, go with that whole lifestyle. They choose not to see that when it comes to the young girls. And this is evident in, like I said, I named Ice Cube being able to remake his image, right? But can anybody name me a black woman rapper who, started out like, let's say Ice-T? And remember, Ice-T started out dating a young 17-year-old girl. And now Ice-T is this married, family guy. Or Ice Cube started out rapping about violence, drugs, F the police, all of these things, right? That now looking back, 50 years later, looking back, we can see how it negatively impacted particularly the young men, the young black men. Now we can see it. But see, when people were trying to tell everybody about the dangers of it, nobody wanted to listen because, many in black society, we don't like to look at statistics. We like to go off of how it makes us feel. We want to go off of the feeling and not sometimes the science or the numbers behind things. But can anybody name me a black woman rapper, Ice-T, a woman who started out like Ice-T or Ice Cube or even Snoop Dogg or Dr. Dre or whomever else, who has been able to revamp her image All right. Revamp her image from being, let's say, a whore to now a family name. Now she's respected. And you can't necessarily even name little Nicki Minaj, because Nicki Minaj, was never been tagged as a whore. Nicki Minaj was just been, she had a few explicit lyrics, but then she went into the whole pop thing. And even now, she can't get away from some of the things that she's done in her past. Little Kim can't get away from many of the things she's done in her past. But name me a black female rapper that has been able to do what Ice-T, Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, Snoop, and many others. And the reason why you won't be able to do that is because, unfortunately, black society is more forgiving when it comes to men who are trying to revamp or re-image their, brand or their image. Unfortunately, society is not as forgiving when it comes to women. And we can see this even when it comes to the praising of, drug kingpins. Look at all the movies about drug kingpins, and look at all the praise and all the glory that these figures are placed into within black society. And, again, they're more forgiving. And the whole reason why I wanted to do this video was because you have young girls who got sucked into the lifestyle of it all, right? At 16, 15, or however old they were. They're coming out telling their stories, and now you have so many people, oh, well, I don't believe that. Well, why did you, why are you just now saying something? Oh, well, but then they can't connect the dots with how the industry can overtake and consume these young girls being young and naive, but they can do it when it comes to the men. See, we can do it when it comes to DMX explaining about how he got caught up with drugs. We can do it when it comes to Jeezy. He's sitting up, telling us, going way back into his background about, how he was exposed to, so much at such a young age. And everybody can relate and everybody can sympathize with this man, this grown man. But not young women who come out and say, what, when I was young, I got pulled in just like these boys did, just like the boys that end up going off doing time, and everybody's, oh, free Kodak Black, free young boy NBA, and the list goes on. So you guys put your comments in the comment section below. Thank you guys for tuning in. You guys know I appreciate you. And don't forget to like the video. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you're new here. And again, thank you for tuning in. Bye.